This man is Oskar Schindler, a German businessman of the party engraved. He stood on a hill, from afar, to issue a Nazi soldier who slaughtered the Jews, including the scene where she was wearing a boiling red jacket amidst the chaos and killing. The baby's hand has a star icon, seal of death. Baby go around everywhere, do not know where, no relatives. Sometimes I entered the group, sometimes go against the group. Around the baby is the scene of people chasing, the scene of a series of people lined up to be shot to avoid bullets. The life of dozens of people is not more than one of you. What will Schindler do? What will the fate of the Jews in this concentration camp? Invite you to watch the movie Masterpiece, used to wear about 7 Oscar prizes for this value of life. The film is based on the people and the real event in the history of World War II and the genocide tie chains. Opening the film is September 1939. Fat Cheech Duck occupied Poland after 2 weeks. The Jews were arrested and registered the whole family and had to move to resettlement in some main cities. When it was new to this land, Oskar Schindler, he used all his remaining money to a bar for Nazi officers, dressed as luxurious as a successful person. The flower continued to serve. He was quickly noticed by the German officers for his generosity and appearance. Pay a little, after the expensive foreign lies, the long-legged girls, Schindler has become familiar with senior officers. Some even crowded together to take photos with Schindler. In another development, the Germans began to confiscate the Jewish property of the Jews here, to close the educational institutions, schools, factories, and factories of Jews. With a sharp business mind, Schindler went to a company that made the pot closed by the Jews. He came to find Sam Stern, a bookmaker, to ask about the company's business situation. After that, Schindler presented his business plan. He will acquire the company producing a pan and turn it into a military production company, signing contracts with the Nazi German army. Because Schindler is a German, the acquisition of this company is entirely possible. Stern then asked Schindler he would need money to buy the company. Schindler answered, "The business community Thailand, previous business owners will provide money. They will do so. They will lend us money if they do not want to be inventoried and confiscation. We will return them with pots and pans, what they can sell in the black market. All are happy." March 20, 1941. The deadline for centralized running. Decree 4491 established a Jewish district limited. Everyone was forced to live there. The entire Jews in Krakow and the vicinity were forced to leave the house and focused on an area of only 16 blocks. Schindler met Jewish traders and started negotiating. Every 1,000 investments, I will pay you 150 to 200 kilograms of yeast, starting from July and lasting a year. After that time, we evenly prepare goods, which is the only value valuable in concentrated running. Jewish business minds also realize that. If they do not accept, they may be confiscated by the virtue. Along with the money full of money from Jewish entrepreneurs, Schindler successfully bought and owned the factory. The next problem is labor and salary. If hiring Polish workers, they will have to pay higher amounts. If hiring Jewish workers, their wages will pay directly to the German soldiers. They will receive the factory's goods are pots and pans, which they can exchange in concentrated running. Son then came to run the Jewish concentration, to search for workers to work for the factory. But Son has no intention of finding skilled and healthy workers. Instead, he found the elderly, women, children, musicians, writers. Because he knew that these people were not healthy enough to survive in concentrated running. They will be stamped by the Germans to work and will be transferred to the factory similar outside as concentrated. Everything is done very urgently. On the one hand, Son still came to focus on finding people. On the one hand, newcomers were trained to produce pots and pans at the factory. Schindler is also very busy in the redesign of the office and recruiting paper typees to make signs. In the name of the fiber factory, high-end porcelain item factory, designed specifically for military bridges, Schindler's business is growing. The shipments are exported more and more. The German army also didn't care what Schindler's factory produced because they were busy with ruffled money and items. Schindler bribes like salmon eggs, cigars, balls, cigarettes, coffee. Schindler seems to be able to provide all the luxury things, although in the context of the war. In another development, Schindler's wife came to find him and caught another woman in the house. It was true that a very talented man was with many disabilities. Schindler then took his wife to a luxurious restaurant and talked about his success. His father was also a businessman. At the peak period, his father had only 50 workers working, and now Schindler had 350 workers in the factory working and making money for him. Schindler wants his wife to stay here, but she said that none of his maids knew that I was not Mrs. Schindler. I will stay. With Schindler at this time, the intention to set up a factory was just because he made a lot of money. Until the Stern took a fake man who was amputated to see Schindler. He faked his hand to thank Schindler for letting him work. It was supposed to be at the concentration camp. The German soldiers beat and even killed him because of no value. But thanks to the factory work, so he escaped death and had enough meals. Schindler finished listening very angry Stern, because if the German soldiers discovered, would be harmful to the factory. However, the subsequent incidents did Schindler gradually change awareness. One morning, when the workers on the way to the factory were stopped by the German troops and forced them to snow in the cold. Not all German soldiers are interested in Schindler's bribes. Some names must have been brainwashed by Hitler, so there are only Jewish hatred. He faked his hand and even being shot out by them mercilessly. Schindler witnessed that scene but could not do anything else. And Stern, because he was so scared, and went on a train. Although Schindler was busy, he hurriedly followed the ships of Stera province. Stern, he even used threats to 2 young German soldiers to stop the train. Schindler finally pulled the Stern to stay and continued to work. In the winter of 1942, a senior German officer, Wood Armand, was appointed to be a centralized commander. He is a very cruel name. After going around to grasp the situation, he chose a girl named Helen as his maid. After that, an incident happened. A Jewish girl was an engineer of a newly built soldier. She said that she had to rebuild completely because the foundation was wrong, which would lead to subsidence and collapse. Her attitude is very harsh, and angry. He still let the soldiers follow the engineer, but later he shot his death because of the reaction attitude. After that, Amen implemented the Jewish persecution policy extremely brutally. He wanted to completely eradicate the town of this Jewish after 6 centuries to exist. He let the soldiers collapse everywhere, every corner, every house of the Jews. He confiscated all their assets. After that, put all of them in a focus. He was ready to let the soldiers shot dead whoever wanted to run or oppose. The scene is extremely pitiful. Standing from afar, the police stated, "Please breathing." It seemed that something had changed in him. What he has a lot of shortcomings, what he has been looking for a long time, that is firmly hidden. This scene is probably the most expensive in the movie. The scene that takes away the tears of anyone watching the movie. A girl wearing a red round shirt in a black and white movie. Just scared, lonely, eyes that are lifeless. Walking between the Jews that no one dared to help her, because they are also walking among a group of Nazi demons. Late at night, the German soldiers still crashed everywhere. The bowl of bullets went to the ceiling to not remove anyone. The Jewish body lies. By the next morning, all Jews were focused on his mansion, holding to shoot a Jewish person, so they feared to work faster. Schindler's private factory business now has no worker, forced to stop operating. Schindler rushed to see Amen and made attractive offers for Amen. He finally agreed to let Schindler's workers return to the factory. However, the Stern was threatened by him and keep working for him, must report to him about the money made by the factory. He could only stealthily meet Schindler and give information to Schindler factory management. Unlike other centralized commanders, Amens have intervened deeper into the factory's operation. He almost shot and killed a worker because he thought that the worker refused to do it. When he knew that he had stolen a chicken in a concentrated running, he shot his first death to Thi Hui. The quick boy pointed out that the person who had just been shot dead was a chicken thief, thus saving the rest. A girl in a focused running because she wanted to save her elderly parents and came to Schindler to beg. She wants Schindler to accept her old parents to the factory. Because they are not beaten here, there are food, drinking water to live. But that girl did not have a bucket. She borrowed a dress from you to see Schindler. She could only use her body to exchange. Schindler then was very angry. He came to find Stern and question what he wanted me to do. The factory is now a shelter of the Jews. If exposed, it is very dangerous for all. Amen, he is a bloodthirsty demon. But after that, listening to Sun recounted that Amen shot dead 25 people, one by one, just because one person left the working position. Schindler was firmly hidden. He still decided to tell Sun's elderly parents into the factory. On Schindler's birthday, a luxurious job, there were many German officers attending. 2 Jewish girls on behalf of all the factory workers to say the happy birthday Schindler. Schindler is also very happy to thank and receive a birthday cake made from crumbs. He later sent 2 girls with intimate kisses. This surprised everyone, and it also brought trouble to Schindler. One day, there was a train carrying new people to focus. They had to screen first. Healthy people who can work will be retained. Those who are sick, have no health, are not likely to work into one area and be abandoned to death. Newcomers are extremely scared. The women have to use their blood to release their face, like rosy makeup, to show that they are healthy. They were caught by the German soldiers and ran the swamp to screening. Children are separated from mothers and brought to another concentration. Some children have the courage to hide. This boy escaped in a house. Open flooring, people, repair tube. Some people even hide in fragmentation. There are also other children there. Schindler witnessed the crowded ships full of Jews. Chi could break up with a little water and air to breathe. He lowered himself to give birth to ammonium to spray into the water pipes so that the Jews had a bit of life. The water pipe is not long enough to spray until the end of the ship. Schindler took the water pipe at the factory to connect. He also bribed some German soldiers so when the train stopped at the stations, spray water for the Jews. Witnessing this scene, Amen was extremely uncomfortable. Plus, Schindler kissed a Jewish girl at the birthday party. He sued Schindler to court for violating racial laws and resettlement, although it was impossible to specify any specific provisions in the law. But after that, Schindler was also released because they knew the benefits that Schindler brought. In April 1944, the Deichklump ordered Amen to excavate and burn. More than 10,000 Jews were killed during the massacre at Krakow and Krasow concentration camps. They make the Jews are alive and have to dig with each piece the soil and burning of their loved ones, including the girl wearing a red round shirt. Schindler then talked to the Stern. He said they would move all the Jews here to another concentration camp called Auschwitz. Stier seems to know his destiny. He drank with Schindler the first glass of wine in his life as a friend. The factory was no longer able to continue working, looking at their own money. Schindler finally knew what to do. He went to see Amen and wanted an exchange. Schindler's money in exchange for Jews. How much is the price paid to a Jew, depending on how important that person is to Schindler? Immediately, Schindler came to the Stern and set up a list of Jews to stay. Schindler walked continuously and read each name. Investors, all of them. Children, I want all children. He constantly urged the Stern to hurry. How many people are on the list? Soon, there were 400, then 600, 800 people. Along with the long list, the amount of money Schindler brings the ammonium more. Holding the list in hand, Schindler smoked more medicine and wanted more people. He did not want to buy these Jews to work at the factory. He is acquiring their lives from them Nazi Germany. Schindler took the list to see Amen. There is still an ending place. Schindler wants the last name, that is Helen, Amen's maid. He wanted to take her into the forest and shot dead. However, with a reasonable price, Schindler finally convinced him. In Schindler's hometown, he waited for the train to carry Jewish workers on the listed list. The place where he created a new factory, where hot soup and bread for Jews. At the Auschwitz concentration, in cold weather, white snow covered, new women were arrested outdoors. Afterwards, they were cut off their hair. They were hit into a closed room and rinsed cold water on their heads. Schindler arrived. He bribed his name just because he was gathered in a diamond bag. Then, saved the people in the list, taking them to his new factory. The new factory was built with the work of producing artillery shells for the Germans. However, in the month, they could not produce anything. Schindler even spent money to buy artillery shells from other places to maintain the factory's operation. He also gave the Jews to meet, eat, and worship the Spring Festival on Friday. And finally, on the radio station, the Second World War announced Fahrzeugstück surrendered to the Allies unconditionally. Schindler spoke to all his Jewish workers. At midnight, the war ended. Tomorrow, you will start the process of finding survivors in the family. In most cases, you will not find them. After 6 years of death, the victims have been increased around the world. We survived. Many of you came to thank me. Please, thank you. Thank you, son, who does not fear and worry for you in every moment of death. Tonight you will be free, and I will be hunted. Hope you forgive me. The Jews used all the gold left over their bodies. They forged into a ring. When Schindler and his wife were about to leave the car, a worker gave Schindler a letter to explain everything, including the signature of all witnesses, in case Schindler was arrested. Son also gave Schindler a golden ring, with the meaning for the Jews. Anyone who saved a human life, who saved the world. While Schindler saved more than 1,100 Jews, Schindler was touched without speech. He hugged son's hand and stammered, can save more people, more people. I have wasted a lot of money. I should have saved more people. This car, this golden jammed, I don't need these things. There should be more people being saved. Schindler then cried in son's arms and Jews. Perhaps, now, Schindler has found and has something he always feels lacking. Although when there was a lot of money. The Jews are now safe. They will no longer be killed. Peeling off the law is bad. Now, they can build Kiao a new life. Movie, List of Schindler, a movie masterpiece will make you want to cry about the value of life. Which scene are you most impressed with in the movie? Please leave your opinion below the comment section. As for Schindler, will not need saying a lot, because what he did is so great. He came to the time by empty hands, and he left also empty-handed. Okay, because of the opportunity calculation, it has been used to buy human life. When there is a lot of money, he said that people will remember the name Oskar Schindler. He did something extraordinary with empty hands. At that time, Schindler thought others would miss him because of wealth. But life shows us that he is religious Ving because of his own heart, rich heart.